And speaking of the final things to say about an incredible past couple of days in the United States is you may well have noticed quite a few people in a flutter about the Amazon boss, his fiancée, Jeff Bezos' fiancée, and what she decided to wear to the inauguration. Some say incredibly modern, some say a little too low cut. What does Megyn Kelly say?
This is not my first time saying she dresses like a hooker, because she does. Have some dignity and some respect for your setting in your circumstances. No one should be talking about your tits.
I love that lady. As for Mark Zuckerberg, his opinion, currently under review. Megyn's on the show tomorrow night. Can't wait to have her. That's why we love her. Love her very much. Now, still in Washington, before we move back to Australia, and believe me, this poll in and around Albo, it's not one that he's going to be excited about, nor many of his supporters. Those of us who want to see the back of him, you'll be happy in a couple of seconds' time. The Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, was the representative of Australia, along with Karen, the current ambassador. But the focus wasn't on him. Instead, it was on her. And some of the people that have gone a little bit overboard, that any criticism of the way that the government that has previously bagged him personally is now right back in the front seat. Have a look at this for some sickening stuff. Sydney Morning Herald, Penny Wong's golden ticket. Willy Wonka style? She's got a golden ticket. She's got a golden ticket. Oh, wow. Now, of course, they even had the photo showing that there she was, a couple of rows from the front. They circled it even. See, there's nothing wrong. And no one's ever said that there was going to be something massively wrong. It just was pretty obviously the team that has said bad things about him publicly is not going to be as tight as the people who've said nice things about him publicly. But have a listen to how they spin the ball. Penny Wong and Donald Trump, the cerebral, cautious champion of Labor's left and the brash real estate tycoon turned Republican hero, otherwise known as president. But anyway, it hardly sounds like a match made in political heaven. Yet there was Australia's foreign minister in prime position at Trump's inauguration in the Capitol Rotunda, seated next to his elder sister. It goes on. Wong was one of only a handful of foreign dignitaries in the actual room, receiving the golden ticket to the event, despite the crowd size being dramatically cut back when the inauguration was moved indoors because of the freezing temperatures. Countries with far bigger populations and economies like Australia, such as France or Germany, they didn't make the cut. The vast majority of countries would have been desperate to trade places with Australia as they navigate the choppy waters caused by Trump's remarkable return to the pinnacle of global politics. OK. And it's all Penny Wong. She was able to work out exactly where to sit and all the rest of it. And then there was a meeting today between the brand new Secretary of State and Australia's Foreign Minister. And the media again saw this as an absolute cue and a coup of the kind they like.
As well, Penny Wong, one of the first foreign ministers to meet new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio.
Not even 24 hours into the new presidency, and the White House had an Australian guest, Foreign Minister Penny Wong.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is side by side with Australia's Foreign Minister.
OK, great. But calm down. The reason Australia had the prominent position, and it was Australia, not the person who was sitting in the seat on the behalf of Australia, was all to do, of course, with the Quad. This is the relationship between Australia and India, Japan, South Korea, to have an understanding and to be able to share intel and information, principally about pushing back on China. Now, the reason that whoever was representing the Quad got the great seats on the behalf of the Quad, well, it has to do with this, that we are part of that relationship, again, with those other countries. And all of those ministers met today with Marco Rubio. India, Japan, Australia, the United States. I apologise, South Korea, not part of it. Those are the four countries. They all met with the brand new Secretary of State. And I'll tell you the reason why the Quad gets the billing that it does in terms of foreign policy and Donald Trump specifically. And I'm sorry, I issue a trigger warning. You are about to see a ghost of Prime Ministers past. Because you see, the Quad was revived by Donald Trump in 2017. And in the same way as he views the Abraham Accords as the key to Middle East peace, ones he put in place, he views the Quad and Australia, Japan, the United States and India working together in that Quad. He sees that as the way of trying to battle China. So, yeah, OK, great. Here's the deal. No one thinks that Australia was going to get such a cold shoulder that he just would withdraw the troops from Darwin, get rid of the submarines from Perth, and Pine Gap, well, that could be turned into some sort of, glamping establishment. The point was, and the point that anyone who has been critical of the things that have been said in the past, is that the people have had to do a pretty obvious about turn. But each way elbow is the way that, of course, our Prime Minister chooses to be. And no doubt, eventually, once ambassadors talk to ambassadors and ministers talk to ministers, eventually leaders talk to leaders, at some point there will be some sort of a warmer embrace. And whether that's under Anthony Albanese, Peter Dutton, or whenever and whoever is the Prime Minister, when in the next 4 years there is an opportunity to meet. Now, first it'll be face-to-face in all those group meetings, like the G7 or the G20 or the Quad meetings or the ASEAN meetings or all the other reasons why Airbus Albo has to leave the country every 5 minutes. Australia will be warmly welcomed. But the point is that if they didn't say the things they had said in the past, then there would be no water that needed to go under the bridge for a better relationship, a real and enthusiastic relationship. Let me compare the pair, as those union super ads like to say. Former Prime Minister Scott Morrison was with Donald Trump, in fact, invited to his house on New Year's Eve. He does not have an official position anywhere representing Australia anymore. But of course, he was one of only a very small bunch of countries who were recognised with a state dinner. Hopefully Australia gets this honour again in the next 4 years. But you see, when you're invited over to somebody's house, it's a little bit different than when you are chasing them around a golf course and yelling at their golf cart and not riding with them.